Hey, brother!
And welcome everyone to another movie review here on Super Carlin Brothers. Today we are discussing Black Panther.
There has been so much hype about this particular movie, so today we are going to talk and discuss and determine whether or not this is the best superhero movie. Guys, welcome to Super Carlin Brothers, where we talk about all things Disney, Pixar, Star Wars, Marvel, and Harry Potter. If you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button.
And the like button too. Speaking of the like button, I would hit it like 1,000 times for this movie.
Oh, absolutely. This is one of those movies where, like, it started... And it's like a 2 hour and 20 minute long movie.
Yeah.
Does not feel like it.
That is exactly what I have written down here. It's initial thoughts. Very good. Doesn't feel like over 2 hours.
Yeah, and we've seen it twice already. And even the second time, I was like, it's just as good.
Yeah, there are so many times where like we are so accustomed to like poking a little plot hole in something and being like, oh, they didn't really explain this. Or like every single time, like I have gone to like think one of those questions. I'm like, wait, did they? And then like, sure enough, I'll think back, look, they did cover it. Okay, yeah. It's like a very tight script.
Yes, the whole concept is incredibly sound. So like, going into this, I know like a long time ago when they announced the movie, we made a video sort of like explaining who Black Panther was. But like, unlike many of the other superheroes, this was one where I wasn't nearly as familiar with like the general storyline going into it. And like even in Civil War, when you kind of get introduced to Black Panther, I'm like, well, is it like the fact that he's wearing a vibranium suit that he can just like run super fast? Like, is it like his physical proximity to the material itself that like makes him strong?
They introduce him in Civil War and they don't really explain what his powers are. How is he running as fast as the cars? Is it the suit? Is he super powered? What does it mean to be the Black Panther? And the opening of the movie, I love. They had this cool vibranium effect they do for most of the movie where it like morphs into like a shape.
Yes.
And they tell the opening in that, and just right away, and I think they know the audience has no idea who Black Panther is.
Right.
But they do such a clever thing where they let your existing like experience with movies misdirect you.
Okay.
Like they do this a lot in the movie, but I love it right in the start. They're talking about how this meteorite of vibranium hit Africa, and there were 5 tribes, and 4 of them decided to be under one rule, and the Jamari tribe went off, and you're like, and like
those are the villains.
Yeah, and you were like. The movie doesn't say that there's animosity between the tribes. It doesn't say like this isn't working out, but they let you jump to the conclusion like these are the bad guys.
Right.
Like, and you think so. But they're not.
They're not, but I mean they will even continue to sort of like tee it up that way where, they've got like the king's ceremony, which like I love this scene so much because it's, for one, they go through and like strip down his power, and I love that they explain that he has to like, as at the very beginning of the ceremony, he is like a normal person like the rest of them. He's like combat trained,
yes,
but he's not like super powered, because that's one of those things where it's like, well, how could you ever defeat it? And then it's cool that they've got this like very respectful amongst this like society of like 5 individual societies of like letting the king, because normally like monarchies like this, you're born into it, like it's a blood thing. That's not the case, which is super
not the
cool.
case.
So like the other tribes have the opportunity to like present this challenger, and I love that because it takes away the bloodline thing altogether. And I mean, it's still there. Like obviously, like his potential, children would go on to be the next.
Yeah, they do specifically say, is there anyone of royal blood who would like to challenge?
Sure.
So it's like each tribe has like their own royalty, and then it's like who gets the honor of being the Black Panther / king upon them.
But it gives you such a good sense of how harmoniously this society of 5 societies lives together, because they sort of, and they even almost give you a little misdirection where it's like, does anybody present a challenger? And they cut to like this one guy who's like holding, I think they're kind of like the curved swords, and you think he's the challenger, and then like their spokesperson says like, we do not have a challenger. And then it goes through everybody,
Right.
and it's like
they all brought a challenger like out of tradition, but
Right.
like no one. It's like you can tell throughout history they have genuinely used the trial by combat to determine who was going to be the monarch or whatever.
Right.
But at this point, it seems to have largely become ceremonial. Although I'm just thinking about this right now. One of the challengers is his the would-be challengers is his love interest. What's her name? Nakia.
okay.
For the River Tribe, which means had she won, there would be the female Black Panther.
Right.
You know,
right.
like
Which
there's the movie does such a good job with like strong women.
Oh
too.
my gosh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Like the entire like legion that,
Right.
that follows him around
The
everywhere. It's
King's
just like like they do a fantastic job of making it well known that like they're not to be messed with.
Yeah, and they are not.
Oh man, there's one line in the movie during the car chase where I think they're being shot at in like a bulletproof car by bullets, and the general says like such primitive technology, and like her tool is a spear.
Right, her tool is a spear, but like they're both just sitting there like bored, like what are they doing?
Really?
Are they shooting guns at us?
Right. No, it's a very interesting like concept again for the society where they are like warriors and they have a lot of like weapon-based technology, but they are just through and through pacifists.
Yes,
it's sort
absolutely.
of like they've got all of this stuff there, but and even just the technology in general, it would almost be like if the United States like just refused to interact with anything else. Like, we're not going to help, we're not going to hurt, we're not going to play.
Except that they're also like lying about their existence almost.
Sure, right.
Like,
yes.
yeah, Wakanda's real, we're farmers and textile and but it's like such a good like it works itself nicely into the entire MCU because it's like if they're so strong, why haven't we seen them so far? And it's like, because they're keeping themselves a secret. It's like, it fits perfectly.
Right. Like, yeah, it was a very good way to, like, kind of have them have been there the whole time and without it, without it posing that issue.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And they have, like, been very carefully building up to Black Panther for a long time, like in Age of Ultron. I think, correct, I haven't seen it in a while, but I think Claw is in that one. Like, that's where Ultron, is that correct?
Yeah, it's when he loses his arm.
It's when he loses his arm,
gotcha,
but he's the one
yeah.
who sells it to Ultron, right? So he's in there, and then they, of course, introduce Black Panther in Civil War, but you still don't get his backstory, and now finally you get to see where this technology's been coming from.
Right.
And it is. Oh, I love the scene where they like crash through like the hologram trees.
Right,
And he's
right.
like, this never gets old.
See, that's one of those things. Yeah, like the beginning of the movie definitely like delves into like a good amount of exposition where they're continuously like letting you know more about their world through the dialogue of the characters.
Yeah.
But I think it's all very, very well done.
It's all like what I love particularly about this movie is that nothing is on accident. Like all the exposition is actually like setting you up for like reveals later.
Sure.
And like the way they're like giving you the information is like it's like still setting you up for something later. So like the opening scene after they do the little origin story thing where the kids are playing basketball. I love this scene so much because it's like 1992 Oakland and you think, okay, cool, and they're just sort of showing you like some like black kids playing basketball on a broken basketball hoop.
I love the hoop.
Yeah, the
like,
hoop is like a thing.
Yeah.
It's like, this is like a rundown area. These are like poor kids. Like it's just like setting the scene for you.
Right.
And then they cut to like, the uncle character who is like, going to be, fighting for him. So you think these kids are just like, kids like give you a sense of what Oakland was like at
Exactly.
the time.
Right.
But in fact, oh my God, I got even the second time when I knew the twist was coming, I got chills when they cut back to the kid and like revealed to you that he was
Right, like,
Killmonger. I'm like,
no, crazy.
oh my God, I love it. I love
Yeah.
that they did that, and it's not just.
Oh, and the other
Scene
thing
building,
with
yeah.
that scene, and talking about how this movie did nothing on accident, the casting of the two guys, so the uncle and what is his name?
Zuri?
Zuri. Yeah, who's played by Forrest Whitaker. The guy who they had play young Zuri, like 100%.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
he's
Would
like
grow up to
he
look
kind of
that way.
has like the same facial shape as Forrest Whitaker, and it's like so when you get that reveal, even it's like, 100%. Like, that's him younger.
Yeah.
That completely makes sense.
Yes.
So no, I thought the casting, like, all throughout was extremely well done. Like, where all the younger versions of everybody looked very much like they would be the younger versions of those characters.
Yes.
Which was really nicely done.
I agree.
Okay, yeah. So then let's just talk about Killmonger, because Marvel has not done a spectacular job with creating memorable villains.
Yeah.
So good.
Dude, so I'm really hoping that he wasn't, like, actually dead
Right.
at the end. You know, like, you're right. Marvel has not done a great job with its villains. Oftentimes they look big and bad and scared. They get defeated. You forget about them forever.
Right.
You know, but like, man, he is like, the whole time I'm like, this is a really good villain. So like, the setup is that as a little boy, his father is killed by the current king of Wakanda.
Right.
And then they abandon him in Oakland, and so he is a prince of Wakanda, but is not allowed to be a part of it. He is then able to come back and like reveal that this all happened. It makes the current king look bad. It lets him challenge the regular Black Panther, and it's like I get it.
Oh yeah.
We're well within your rights to be super mad at these people.
Right, and it's like the core dilemma, it seems like, that a bunch of the different characters are battling from different perspectives, where it's like they leave like little kid Killmonger there.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? Like, you could have brought him back, but they've
that is one of my critiques, is like, why leave the kid? Like, the whole plot hinges on them leaving him there.
But that's really what it comes down to. Like, even Nakia, like, her big thing is that she, like, I have a feeling when her and T'Challa break up, it's because she wants to go and be helping other people in the world.
Yeah.
And like, she is doing it like in a super charitable way, where she's sort of like undercover and very low key, and like she wants to go out and share her knowledge and
like
technology
people.
and help people. And it's like what Killmonger is like angling at, but he wants to do it in the way of like arming people instead of like helping people.
Right. So actually, this is one of the things. So like his abandonment in Oakland and like them abandoning him there was like motivation enough, I felt like, for him to come back and like just want to be like to challenge the throne. Like he does not need more motivation, but he has a second motivation. Like he has an agenda as well, which is like the oppression of, like, I guess, black people around the world.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, I don't even know if it necessarily is specific to that. I think it seemed like even just oppressed people. Yeah.
Yeah, that's sort of what he says. And I was thinking about this is what I was saying earlier, like when I go back and I think, like, is it make sense for him to be mad about that? And it's like, is that like one of those plot holes, or is it just sort of like the movie being an agenda pusher? But like what you just said, the opening scene with Nakia, where like it looks like exactly what she is doing is like helping people who are about to be sold into slavery,
right?
Like oppressed people. So like they're out there. I think you're exactly right. Like she is sort of going about it like the secret right way that she can, that her culture allows, but he wants to very much be like, put guns in hands and take people down.
Right. And I mean, and that is, I think, the very dilemma that they're all dealing with is, like how much do we interact with the rest of the world? Like, sure, we could help, but then like everybody sort of has a different perspective. Like, who is it that's in head? Wakabi, who's like kind of like the rhino guy. I think one of his quotes is like, if you let the refugees in, you let their problems in with it. And so like everybody is sort of got like a slightly different stance on whether or not and why you do or do not help other people.
Yeah, it's very similar to the whole Civil War problem they have in Captain America Civil War, where it's like, should we like govern like the Avengers? Like, should we like direct them to here, or should they be a freestanding body? And it's like Wakanda is like basically saying, right now we're freestanding. Like, if we open it up, there's no chance that our technology isn't abused in some way.
Right. Exactly.
But at the same time, is standing by just as bad.
Like, is it irresponsible?
Because we have the power to help? So it's very it's definitely a weird conundrum they have there.
Right. Well, and it's cool even, like, because it ends up being a very multi-layered story, where, like, with most superhero stories, what you're doing is watching the hero battle the villain, and the story most often has to do with the hero preventing some type of mass casualties or whatever.
Yeah.
But this is working on, like, a person-to-person basis and a society-to-society basis. Like, it's sort of like their feud as individuals is then extrapolated to everything else.
Right.
Which is just, like, it's neat.
It is. I love how they do especially good job of it in this movie, but in a lot of superhero movies, it'll be like, how does it, come down to the fact that, like, the entire world could come between the feud between these two people. But it's often like someone has an agenda to take over the world and someone else is, like, coming in from the side. That's the hero to, like, stop them. This is, like, very much, like, it again comes down to these two people because they abandoned this kid somewhere. And it is straight between the two of them.
Right,
yeah.
right. Yeah, absolutely.
What's interesting is that it's like, well, I'm going to save this for a little later. Never mind.
Okay.
We'll come back. So, another thing I wanted to address in this, that I think this movie does expertly is bathos, I believe is the correct phrase.
Okay, explain bathos to me.
Okay, so bathos is when you undercut a serious moment with humor.
Okay.
Basically, so like you sort of pull the rug out of a serious moment. And this has become the, I would say, bread, butter, and bane of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Right.
Like, so there are certain franchises, I think like Guardians of the Galaxy and like Ant-Man are perfect for this kind of humor. Because like, they are like sort of mocking the genre. They're like mocking the genre in their own little world.
Sure.
Like you know,
from inside of it.
From inside of it. Like, you know, Rocket Raccoon is always like, we're just a bunch of idiots standing in a circle. Like,
right.
He's like, I can't look, we look stupid.
Because that's what superheroes do, is they stand in a circle.
Right, like he's openly making fun of it. And I love, like, in Ant-Man, like, they have this big epic looking battle, and then they'll like zoom out and it's like a plastic tray, and it's like, you know.
Right.
It's like, oh, it looks really serious, but of course it's just these little toys. And so like in those situations, I feel like it works really well. On the flip side, you have like, they put it in everything now,
right.
But like it does not work as well for like, you know, Doctor Strange or Thor or Captain America or some like more serious character.
Right.
Like, I really hate in Doctor Strange where like it is like his moment. He is deciding to become, like, he's putting on the cape. He is leaving Stephen Strange behind and putting Doctor Strange as the future. Like, he's becoming the hero, and the cape does this thing where it's like...
Right, like how he messes with it. I know.
It's like no,
not the
you
time.
You're stealing his... That's the Moha. It's like, no, that wasn't the time to do it.
Right.
Marvel. But they do this all the time. So, the way they do it in Black Panther, though, is a little different. And I feel like they adjust it. They like switch lanes just a little. And the way they do it is instead of undercutting a serious moment with humor, they really just like juxtapose, I would say, American language into African culture at strategic times.
Sure.
So, and it's like, it just catches you off guard and you're like, wait a second. But it doesn't pull from the seriousness of the moment. It just like makes you laugh because you didn't expect him to say it that way.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, for example, I love it's when T'Challa returns from the dead and is like starting to run up the little grassy hill, and they cut to Michael B. Jordan, Killmonger, and he's like, "What's up?" You're like, "Yep, okay." It's like really funny because he's like, you don't expect him to say "What's up?"
Right.
Culture. Or when they're meeting with the Jabari tribe leader, and the way he delivers one of the lines is like, he asks him for an arm, and he's like, I bet you do, but no. And it's like, that is a very American-sounding joke.
Right.
Like, that delivery, that sarcasm is very American.
Right.
It is not like what you expect to see an African chief dressed like a gorilla sitting on top of a mountain to say.
Right, yeah. No, his character, M'Baku, is that right?
M'Baku,
yeah. His delivery of all of his comic relief was spectacular. I love when he looks at Martin Freeman's character, Ross, and he's like, you do not speak. You say one more word, I will feed you to my children. And then he's like, I'm just kidding, we're vegetarians. It's like... They do the like the gulp on Martin Freeman's character where you can like hear it.
Yeah.
You know, like a little bit louder than you're supposed to.
Yeah.
But no, this movie used humor in such a spectacular way.
Yeah.
Like, and it would even like tuck it into like little spots where they didn't have to do it, but like choosing to do it worked. So one of them is where they're doing the car chase and they like blow up the car and she just comes like sliding up in the seat, still holding the steering wheel, and it's like,
it's so much more like they're not making jokes for you, the audience, to laugh. It's like the character is like just something funny is just happening.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
You know, like when Claw shoots there's two great moments with Claw. One where he shoots the ATM and he's like, I made it rain! That was awesome! And it's just like they're not like set, it's not like a set up delivery on the joke. It's like this is just how the character is. Andy Serkis' character, by the way, Claw.
Oh my gosh.
They invented a new sense of humor.
Yes.
It's like he's such a weird guy, but he just like loves being mean, you know?
I thought Andy Serkis did an absolutely spectacular job with that character. Like when he walks up and he's like, what do you have, like a mixtape coming out? And he's like, actually, yes, I do. Can we get him a SoundCloud link? It's like
Please don't make me listen to your music.
Right. But like the villain, that like the fact that he's got like this SoundCloud link to
Right.
it, it's just like
he's international black market, you know,
villain.
Arms dealer,
Right,
and he's
right.
also working on a mixtape.
Right.
But like actually, yeah.
No,
that's
that was
great.
It was so good. That one made me laugh out loud both times.
Yeah, it was very funny. He's a good character. I also love the comedy of the sister.
Yes.
And it's like that all just comes out like organically. You just feel very much like it's just this sibling, you know, relationship.
Yes.
Like they're just messing with each other all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, I think when there's almost that like James Bond technology moment where she's going through and like showing him all of like the new comm and like the new cufflinks.
The Q scene.
Yes,
basically.
the Q scene.
Man, by the way, I hate that modern day James Bond has cut out all the gadgetry from James Bond.
Oh my gosh, yeah, gadgets. No, it's
that's like my favorite scene of every James Bond movie is when he goes and visits Q and he's like, here's all the fun pen bombs and things you get.
Right. We want that back.
Yeah, I want that back, James Bond.
Yes.
Anyway.
But no, yeah, I think it's when she like makes the little joke on like the super quiet shoes.
Yeah.
They're called sneakers.
Yeah. He like doesn't laugh. He's like, because never mind. Oh, and then when she makes fun of his sandals, like, the real question is, what are those?
Yes. No, the little sister Shuri, right? That's her name. Yeah, she did.
Shuri.
She did so good.
Yeah.
And their relationship was absolutely hysterical.
Yeah. They're definitely like brother sister, just hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah. Also, so are there any critiques you have? Anything that bothered you from it?
They were so few and so like nitpicky that
Yeah.
I feel bad bringing them up because I think it's like that doesn't really matter. But
Yeah.
there was one scene that like sort of irked me a little bit when they're doing the car chase and Black Panther for one is riding. I think you actually brought up this point after we were at the theater, but like he's riding on top of the car and it's like, for one, we saw in Civil War that he can run as fast as a car anyway, so like why ride on top of the car? But there's the scene where it's being remotely driven and like a bunch of cars crash in front of her and Black Panther like sort of pulls the car and like drifts it around the wreckage and it's like
It seemed unnecessary.
it just seemed unnecessary. Like,
Sure.
like it's already been shown to us in such a huge way. Like, this character has lots of cool abilities and strength, and like the armor's awesome, but not ridiculously overpowered. And like, there's plenty of cool stuff we don't need that
scene.
and it's CGI. So, like, use a practical effect. Like, if you're gonna do something, like, actually construct
Do
it
it.
in set building, like where the real thing
So
happens.
that it's just cool that you did it.
Right, like where us the audience can like understand the physics behind it, even where it's like, oh my gosh, yes, like that makes sense.
Yeah, I hear you. I agree. My nitpickiest thing is that the very first time you ever see Black Panther in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is in Civil War when him and Cap and Bucky are having this like on foot highway chase, and like they're outrunning the cars, and you're like, okay, that is how you're introduced to the character,
Right.
And now he's like riding on top of a car. Like,
Right.
what's the come on, let's see. We know he can run faster, so like that'd be more fun. And I know. I mean, the reason they're doing it is to set up Martin Freeman's character to fly the jet later, so you understand how that works, and it's not just like look, all of a sudden crazy technology where you can remote fly this plane.
Right, yeah, they sort of needed to show it to you one time so that they could then show it to you in the more important way later.
Yeah.
And that's why I say it's like a nitpicky thing. It's like, it didn't take away from the movie at all for me, and it's like, it's a 5-second detail.
Right. And then the other one, I think maybe you brought this up yesterday, is like the variability in how much vibranium-based weaponry hurts the Black Panther suit.
Yes. Okay. So this is I think the way I brought it up to you was like, it's almost like a Mohs hardness scale issue where, like, materials of like hardness can scratch one another, or like they can affect one another. So like a diamond can scratch a diamond. When they're fighting at the end, where we have like the Black Panther versus Killmonger, they fall onto like the train area. And they have to use like the sonic wave technology to like disengage the suits so that they could actually harm one another.
Right.
And it's like, vibranium weapons should be able to puncture vibranium armor in theory. So I don't think it was something that they really needed to address. Like, vibranium is so powerful to the rest of the world because it's enclosed. Like, Cap's shield was a huge deal. That was like all of the vibranium they had.
Right.
And so it's like, it's super powerful everywhere else because nobody else has it. So like, bullets don't affect it. Like, that makes sense. But vibranium bullets probably would affect vibranium armor.
Totally. But so like, it's weird because there's like the moment where they're breaking Claw out and Killmonger shoots Black Panther with the vibranium thing, and he gets like blasted back. But then the little sister has her like Panther fist things, and she's blasting Killmonger in this like a similar suit, and he's just sort of like, meh.
He's just like absorbing it. So that's that like kinetic energy power of the suit, where it like harnesses everything that hits it, and then it can like release.
Right.
It seemed like there was a little bit of variability to like how and when that was going to work versus not work.
Right.
And the like the last other, and again, this is like a nitpicky like exposition problem I had, but it deals with this exact concept of like the armor and all that is when they land down on the train, and it's already been explained to us earlier in the movie that the reason they have like the sonic boosters is to like be able to contain the vibranium in
transport the vibranium.
But there's like this conversation that happens between T'Challa and Shuri where he's like, turn on the train, and she's like, but then your suits won't work, and he's like, his won't either, and it's like, yeah, we get it.
Yeah, you already explained it to us.
Like, if you had said, I think you could have left it turn on the train, and we would have been like, oh yeah, because of the sonic thing. Like, like we sort of already understood. Also, I have a feeling that technology is so going to be the like kryptonite in future movies where they're going to bring it up again, and and that will be the way that like the villain will learn that they can like
destabilize vibranium with the sonic wave technology.
Exactly.
Sort of like they developed their own downfall.
Exactly. Right. Like, and they're doing it in such an innocuous way, but like you could totally see how like later it'll be used in a very dangerous way.
Yeah. So my only other real critique was that it's just yet another Marvel movie where the bad guy's superpower is the exact same as the main hero.
Yep.
It's like, can we just please
like not have it be the same thing?
Right. Can it just be different powers fighting each other? Does it always have to be the same two things? Right.
There's even one scene that like was like almost grossly reminiscent of Iron Man, where they're falling down into the shaft, and like while they're in the air they're like punching each other and stuff.
Right.
And it kind of felt like just the two Iron Man suits kind of flowing through space, beating each other up as they fell.
Right.
It's like, yeah, all right. But again, that to me is like not a big deal. I thought Killmonger was an awesome villain. I thought Michael B. Jordan did great.
Oh yeah,
as the character.
Yep.
So I don't know. I thought all of that was
the scene where he comes in and sits down on the throne the first time, when they start upside down and like flip the camera. Oh, it's like the music anytime they're about to cut to Killmonger is awesome.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Well, actually, I thought the music throughout the whole movie was really good.
Yeah.
Like, there was a whole bunch of times where what they were doing was, and it's almost like the exact theme of the movie. It's like technology meets tradition. And so, like, there was a bunch of scenes where, like, whenever the good guys were winning, they would have what sounded like more like African bells or something playing, but they were mixing it in with more, like, dubsteppy type techno music or whatever. So it's like, you could hear this very, very traditional sound, like, right in there with like, actually exciting music.
Right.
So that was super cool.
Yeah, yeah. So, the real question is, though...
The real question.
Do you think... Is this the... First we'll do this in two segments. Is this the best Marvel movie?
This is my new favorite Marvel movie.
This is your new favorite Marvel movie?
This is my new favorite Marvel movie. And, like, it's really interesting because, like, it goes back probably to Iron Man, which would have been, like...
Number one.
Well, yeah, it was, like, the first one, but, like, when I watched Iron Man... It was like the same experience where I was just like, I'm so in.
Yeah.
I'm so in. Like,
sold on this.
This is so great. But yeah, I even from like everything else pushed aside, my theater experience was amazing.
Yeah.
I was entertained. I had a blast with it. I thought it was incredibly well written. I thought they did really good, like across the board on details.
Yeah.
Super tight script.
Yeah.
Like everything, there weren't like a whole bunch of plot holes that like posed major issues to the overarching.
Right.
You know, I don't know. I think it's my favorite Marvel movie. What about you?
It is. I think it probably is as well.
Yeah.
It is up there with, I think, Spider-Man: Homecoming and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
For me, the first one.
Yep.
Oh man, those three are all really high. This it might edge out though. It's really good.
Yes.
It's just like it reminds me. Okay, so that leads us into the next question. Do you think it's just simply the best superhero movie, which opens up a whole new category of things?
A whole new category.
Not that I think there's many contenders, but
There aren't. So the real question, I feel like the subtext of that question, is it as good as The Dark Knight?
Is
that the question?
I have the other two movies I have, if I expand it out to the rest of the superhero genre, is The Dark Knight and The Incredibles.
The Incredibles!
Yeah, which
Oh
counts
man,
as well.
also very,
this movie,
very
actually, the more I thought about it, reminds me a lot of The Incredibles. It's like, it's a very tight script, and Mr. Incredible creates his own worst enemy.
Right.
And like
it's so true, yeah.
This is a little bit different in that T'Chaka, the king before T'Challa, creates Killmonger. So it's more like the son is cleaning up the father's mess as opposed to
Right, as opposed to like
cleaning up his own mess.
Right.
Yeah.
Which does like a really cool thing, like with T'Challa's purity, even like as a character.
Because he has to like he has to like go like.
He so looks up to his father.
Yeah.
And like he even has to come to terms with the fact that his father made such a grave mistake that he almost has to like go against his wishes in order to like, you know, close up the story there.
Right. Yeah.
T'Challa even everything, he was a great character.
Very good.
Very well done. I don't know. I love both of them. I love all three of these movies, and I think probably it's like razor thin margins.
It's like they're almost in different genres a little bit. They are. You know, they're like the best of their version of a superhero movie.
Right. Like Dark Knight is. I loved when it came out because like there ended up being like more movies that kind of followed that like gritty, dark, like storyline.
Yeah, like the realistic, more like realism kind of superhero.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I think it absolutely wins that category. Gosh, I don't know. I don't think I could place them.
Just okay, but it's up there.
I would say it's
top
up there.
three.
Absolutely, top. Top.
You would put it top three.
Yeah,
I would say probably up there. Yeah, it's just
yeah.
Your own preferences. But so if you had, do you want to give it a score of any kind?
I think like 9.9.
9.9. Yeah, somewhere in that range. Yeah, 9. I'm gonna say 9.5.
9.5.
Yeah,
okay.
There you go.
Harsh critic.
Gotta leave some room.
Yes.
Leave some room at the top.
Right.
Who knows?
Oh my god.
Super good. So our question for you guys though: where does this rank in your list of Marvel movies, and if it's not your favorite, what is? Let
Absolutely,
us know
yeah,
in
because
the towel section down below.
I feel like amongst these top ones, because you're absolutely right too, like Spider-Man: Homecoming, Guardians Galaxy 1,
Iron Man,
and I love Iron Man. I think Winter Soldier is a super popular.
A lot of people
one.
like Winter Soldier. A lot of people like Civil War, and I haven't seen Thor Ragnarok yet.
A lot of people
have said that.
Yeah,
Derek's given us the
right
overrated.
Right.
So I don't know. I think
I think it will be hard for my opinion that it's my favorite Marvel movie to. I don't think that everyone will agree with me, and I'm okay with that.
Right.
But like at the end of the day, it's not even that I think you should agree with me. Like. It 100% comes down to this was like one of those movies where and it was the same as The Force Awakens, like my favorite Star Wars movie. Like I loved watching it.
Yeah.
And that's the point of these movies, right?
Right. It's just like your experience watching was so great. And it's like it's great because not only is like that your experience watching, not only is it a good movie, but it's like because it's like it's a little bit different because one, it's like for the most part, like 98% like all black cast.
Yeah.
So it's like, there were going to be people who were just going to admire the movie just for doing that.
Right.
But it's like, it's even better that it's also a great movie.
They just knocked it out of the park.
So yeah, and it focuses so much on two like things in modern, like strong women and like
minorities.
And like minorities.
Yeah.
This just hits home so hard on them, and it's like such a popular, accessible, great movie.
Right, but like even on that note, like it does such a good job with both of those things, but it's also not beating you over the head with it.
Not at all.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
So like you don't feel like you're watching something with an agenda. You just it's just good.
It's that is the key.
Right.
I think. Yeah. You don't feel like you're being beaten over the head with it.
Right.
That's just the Wakandan culture. This is just how things are in the MCU.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Guys, I am so excited to hear what your thoughts are on this. Be sure to leave everything in the towel section down below or tweet them at us, which I'm sure we can have our things here-ish.
Yes.
I think that's all for today.
Yeah, although we will put I'll put a link probably right here in the middle of us that's going to block off our chins or something about to other reviews we've done. If you'd like to see us review some more movies and just get real in depth.
Yes, highly recommended. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.